I have the cutest thing to show you today. You're gonna absolutely love it. This is called Shifting Sands, and it is an adorable beach cover-up. It's loose and it's flowy, and I designed it for the Adventurous Beginner knitter. It's perfect for those warm, lazy days when you're lounging on the beach, reading your favorite book, and the waves are crashing on the shore. This pattern is so cool. You can actually wear it two ways, and I didn't realize that until we got this finished piece back, and I accidentally put it on the wrong way, and it was just too cute. You can wear it long like a normal beach cover-up, and you're gonna have a cute little V-neck in the front and back, or you can flip it this way, and you might need to put a little tack to bring the shoulders in a bit so they stay on your shoulders, but this looks more like a cute little shrug. Super adorable, and if you like, you can even seam up under the arms. This style would be great for a cute little shrug thing, and just toss on when you're running out the door and you want a little bit of layering, and I think it would be so adorable in fall colors for a transitional piece. So someone please do that and send me a picture because I want to see it. And here's what I want you to see. Zoom in and look at these adorable little beads. They look like little peaks on an ocean wave, and they're so easy to apply. So to make this adorable top, you're going to need some sport weight yarn, or fingering weight would work too. We used our 6-color kit called Coastal Hues, which is so gorgeous. I mean, these colors just scream tropical getaway to me. The yarn base that we used is our Luster Sport yarn, and it's shimmery, it's long wearing, and it's gonna hold up to lots of love and use. All the details for the yarn and the pattern are in the description box for you, and you can get both at expressionfiberarts.com. And while you're there, if you would love to get free knit and crochet patterns as well as exclusive coupon codes, go ahead and sign up for email updates. To get started, you're gonna make 2 identical panels, and then you're gonna seam them together. So let's go ahead and make one of those panels. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by casting on 17 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 15, and 17, and you're gonna have a lot more for the actual piece. I'm just doing a small swatch for you today. For the initial setup border, you're gonna work 7 rows of garter stitch. So that just means to knit every stitch, every row. So you just knit every stitch, every row, for 7 rows. And when you're finished, you should have a nice little garter stitch border going on. Now we're gonna move into the rows for the body. For row 1, we're gonna go ahead and start with a knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you're gonna knit through the back loop. So just reach around to the back of that next loop and knit through the back. Then knit 1 like normal. Then you're going to knit 1 through the back loop, and this just twists the stitch when you knit through the back loop, makes a little bit of a tighter, neater stitch on the front. Then you're going to repeat all the way across your row, knit 3, 2, 3, knit through the back loop, knit 1, and knit through the back loop. So continue repeating that all the way across until you have 4 stitches left. Then you're just going to knit those remaining 4 stitches. 3 and 4. Row 2 starts with knit 4. And you're going to find this in all the rows going up. It makes a nice little garter stitch border going up the edges. So knit 4, then you're going to purl through the back loop. So we're going to be working into that back loop again, but the difference is our yarn's in the front. We reach through that back loop like so, and we purl through that back loop. Seems a little interesting, but once you do it, you'll see how easy it is. Then you're just going to work a purl 1 like normal, and then purl 1 through the back loop again. So reach to the back loop and purl through the back loop. Nice and easy. Then you're going to repeat across your row, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, purl through the back loop again, purl 1 just like normal, and then purl 1 through the back loop. Continue repeating that all the way across your row, and when you have 4 stitches left, you're just going to knit those final 4 stitches to continue your garter stitch border up this side. For row 3, we're going to put a bead on, so let me show you how to do that. So you're going to go ahead and start with a knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to knit through the back loop, knit one, knit through the back loop, then you're going to repeat across your row. So here we go, we're going to put a bead on. So start with the yarn over. Now what you do to apply a bead, so first you're going to slip one stitch purlwise. So make sure your needles are pointing to each other and slip that next stitch from your left to your right needle. Now we're going to use a crochet hook to apply a bead to the next stitch on the left needle. So how do you do that? You're going to want to grab a little crochet hook that has a head small enough to fit into the center of your bead. And since I'm using thicker yarn today, I didn't have beads that had holes that thick, so I'm going to use a little jump ring. So what you want to do is apply your bead to your crochet hook like so, and then grab that next stitch and just slide your bead over that stitch. So you've now applied the bead onto your stitch, and you can just plop it back onto your left needle. So bead is on and we are good. What you want to do next is go ahead and return the slip stitch purlwise back to your left needle. So plop that back onto your left needle. Now you're going to slip the next two stitches, and one of them has a bead right here, as if to knit them together. So just slip those as if you're knitting them, like so, bloop. Then you're going to knit one. So we're working a decrease here. In addition to the bead, we're working a decrease. Then you're going to pass the two slipped stitches over the knitted one and off your needle. So grab those two slipped stitches up and over and off your needle. So we've decreased, and if you'll see, the bead is perfectly centered right there on that decrease and looks just so beautiful. So make sure you still have that yarn over before. That should still be there. Then you're going to work another yarn over. You're going to knit through the back loop. You're going to knit one. Then you're going to knit through the back loop, and you're going to continue repeating that, applying beads down the length of your row until you have 4 stitches left. Then you're just going to knit those 4 stitches. And there you go. For row 4, you're just going to repeat row 2. So go ahead and work what we did before. Knit 4, 2, 3, 4, purl through the back loop, purl, just a regular purl, purl through the back loop. I think those are so fun to work. Then you're going to repeat across your row, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, purl through the back loop, regular purl 1, purl through the back loop, and when you get down to 4 stitches remaining, you knit those 4 stitches. For rows 5 through 8, you're going to repeat rows 1 and 2. Then you repeat rows 1 through 8 as mentioned in the pattern, ending with rows 1 through 4, or you can work that until you like the size of your piece. So I've just worked rows 1 through 8 for the little demo here, and now we can go ahead and move into our garter stitch border. To work our final garter stitch border, you're just going to knit every stitch, every row for 6 rows. Then here's the final and possibly the most exciting row. You're going to actually drop some stitches all the way down to your cast on row. For the final row, we're going to go ahead and start with a knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to drop the next stitch all the way down to our cast on edge. So literally just drop that next stitch off your needle. And you're going to drop it all the way down to your cast on edge. So I'm just going to do a few right now. We can finish it up in a minute, because you want to see sort of the width here that you need, because we're about to cast on 3 more stitches. So what you want to do now is turn your work backwards. You're going to move your yarn to the back, and you're going to cast on 3 stitches to your right needle using the knitted cast on method. So to do that, insert your right needle into that left as if you're going to knit, and go ahead and pull up a loop. Line your needles up, and you're going to slip that new stitch onto your left needle, and don't do this too tightly or your final edge here is going to pucker. So let's do that again. Insert your right needle as if to knit, pull up a loop, keeping it nice and loose, and insert that onto your left needle. Then let's do it one more time. Pull up a loop and place that onto your left needle so that you have now cast on loosely 3 stitches. So let's turn back around to the right side. Make sure when you're switching back and forth, your yarn is staying in the back, that you're not accidentally wrapping it around your needles. All right, so we're going to continue repeating across our row, knit 5, drop 1, cast on 3. So knit 2, 3, 4, 5, and then drop the next stitch. Bloop. And you're going to drop it all the way down to your cast on edge, which you can do now, or you can get a little bit of the ways down and finish here in a minute, which is what I'm going to do. So now you need to cast on 3 stitches, so turn around to the back. Make sure your yarn is going to swing to the back there, and then cast on 3 stitches using the knitted cast on method, just like we did. So pull up a loop, keeping it loose. Pull up a loop, keeping it loose. And one more. Pull up a loop and slide that on there. So you've cast on 3 more stitches loosely using the knitted cast on method. Then you turn back around to the right side of your work, making sure your yarn's not wrapped around that needle weirdly. Then you're just going to finish with a knit 5. 4 and 5. And here's what we've got so far. And then just continue all the way down, dropping your stitches all the way to the cast on edge. So just keep dropping your stitches all the way down, all the way to the cast on edge. And you've got these beautiful little dropped stitches, whoop, all the way down, and open all of those up. Now we're gonna bind off, and I do recommend a stretchy bind off, like Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. Now I'm gonna bind off using Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. So I'm just going to start with a knit 2, and then grab that first stitch and plop it off. Now to work across the remainder of this row to bind off, you're going to do a reverse yarn over. So opposite of the way you normally do a yarn over, knit the next stitch, then we're going to remove both of these. So you can do them one at a time and bind them off one at a time if you like, or you can grab them both together at the same time and bind them off, whatever's more comfortable for you. And just continue repeating that all the way down. Reverse yarn over, knit the next stitch, and then bind off both of these 2 stitches. And this is just going to create a nice stretchy edge so it doesn't pucker. This is a wonderful bind off to use for so many different projects. The cuffs on socks, sweaters, all kinds of things. So just repeat that all the way to the end until you have bound off all of your stitches. And when you've finished binding off, you're going to have a nice stretchy edge. Once you've finished both of your pieces, you'll need 2 identical ones made. Then you're going to want to make sure and block them. And we have videos on that if you're not sure how to block. It's really going to open up your beautiful stitches. So you can see the difference in blocked versus unblocked. When you block your piece, it really is going to open up all those beautiful stitches and make everything line up gorgeously. If you leave it unblocked, it's going to look more like this. Then you're going to want to seam them together. So you'll want to have blocked both of your pieces, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to seam. So we're going to seam up our cast on edge of each of these pieces. What you're going to want to do, let me turn this one upside down. So here's our cast on edge and the right side is facing up. Then grab the cast on edge of the other one and you're going to line that up like so, and this one will be facing down so that the right sides of both panels are facing each other. So when we work our seam, it's going to be on the back side. So what you want to do first is mark where you want your neck opening. So this is obviously super tiny. Yours is going to be a lot longer. You're going to mark where you want your neck opening. So let's just say that this is our teeny tiny little neck opening on our miniature piece here. Just use some little opening stitch markers or whatever you have. This will help join the pieces together and also show you. So we're going to leave this open for our little neck. Obviously yours will be much wider. Now you're going to need a crochet hook to start seaming up your pieces. Go ahead and grab your yarn and insert your hook into that first stitch on the top panel and into the first stitch on the back panel and just pull up the yarn. And then just chain 1. So you've locked your yarn in. Then you take your crochet hook and you insert it into the second stitch on the top panel and the second stitch on that bottom panel, and just work a single crochet. Same thing for the third stitch. Jump over, insert your hook into the third stitch of the top panel and the third stitch of the bottom panel, work a single crochet, and then work into the fourth stitch on the top panel and the fourth stitch on the back panel, and just work a single crochet. So we've just walked along joining those. Now what do you do when you come to these little strands? One option is you can work into 3 stitches on the front panel and 3 stitches on the back. So you can grab the top 3 on the back and the top 3 on the front, or another option is to just grab 3 from one and then only 2 from the other. So that's what I'm gonna do. I've only grabbed 2 strands from the front, but I've grabbed 3 strands from the back, and we're gonna work 4 single crochets around all of those. 2, 3, 4. And the reason that that's kind of fun is when you flip it over to the right side, that strand that you did not include sort of wraps over and covers the seam a little bit. So that's an option that you can do. So when you come to your little stitch markers, I'm going to actually remove this one. We want to leave this open. We don't want to seam these up. So you're just going to drop one of your panels and just work single crochets across that one panel. So this is what's leaving our little neck opening. But it's also continuing along with our single crochets so that we get a nice uniform look throughout the edge. Then here we are again with our little drop stitches. So again, I'm going to grab 3 from the front and or 3 from the back and just 2 from the front. And I'm going to work 4 single crochets around all of that. 1, 2, and you're just going to continue repeating this all the way around, all the way till you get to the end of your row. Pretty straightforward. If you have another seaming method you prefer, you can of course do that. And then you're going to come back and work single crochets into this edge here that we missed. That way the whole edge is covered in these single crochets. I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn because I've reached the end of my row. Now when you want to work this neck edge, go ahead and turn your piece around so that you can work it like so. And you're just going to insert your hook into that first stitch and pull up your yarn. And you're just going to work a single crochet into each stitch along the neck edge to complete that edge as well. However many stitches that ends up being for your neck opening, so that it has the same finished edge as the rest of your seam. So when you flip it right side out, you can see we've created a nice little, pretty much invisible seam, and those little strands that we didn't use sort of cover the seam a little bit. So, and then you have your little neck opening where you can put your little miniature neck. So once you are done seaming, you are good to wear your beautiful beach cover up. And all of the pattern specifics, the sizing, the color changes, and all that is in the pattern PDF for you. We hope you love making this one and that you wear the tail off of it. So happy knitting, my dear friend. I hope you have a marvelous week, and I will see you next Friday with another beautiful pattern. Bye-bye for now. Mwah.